If you are looking for an absolute masterclass in urban fantasy warfare, electrifying slow-burn romantic tension, and a pulse-pounding, deeply visceral, all-powerful demigod versus scrappy street necromancer tactical operation, you need to clear your calendar for KF Breene. We are stepping directly into the dangerous, calculation-heavy magical underworld of California with Sin and Magic, a spectacular, high-gear, and beautifully executed second installment that cements the Demigods of San Francisco series as an elite, undisputed powerhouse in urban fantasy romance. Let's lay out the strategic narrative grid. If you are a fan of stories where an incredibly powerful, arrogant magical overlord must establish an absolute protective perimeter around a fiercely independent dual-mage heroine, where a dangerous web of political assassinations forces them to synchronize their respective operational tracks, and where the author utilizes an incandescent high-velocity force proximity training diagnostic routine to test their emotional safety buffers, this book is engineered to lock you in. Breene completely dominates the magic mob thriller dynamic, capturing the heart-racing momentum and sharp, lethal banter popularized by Ilona Andrews, Patricia Briggs, and Jeanine Frost, while treating magical system mechanics, structural world-building, and profound personal loyalty with exquisite care. The narrative tracking grid brings us back to Alexis Price, a fiercely resilient, street-smart single caregiver who spent years running a low-profile stealth operation to shield her magical anomalies and ward wards from the city's predatory elite. Her defensive perimeters were completely reconfigured in Book 1 when she caught the analytical focus of Kieran Belshaw, the terrifyingly powerful demigod of sea and storms. Kieran is a hyper-intelligent, ruthless sovereign who views San Francisco as his personal administrative territory, and he recognizes that Alexis's unique, untapped necromancy and spirit-whispering abilities are the ultimate strategic assets he needs to secure his throne. The spark ignites when Kieran locks down Alexis's location and forces her into an elite, calculation-heavy magical contract. He commands her to step onto his private estate perimeter, ostensibly to undergo a grueling, high-intensity training regimen to unlock her raw magical potential. But the investigative tracking clock drops into an incredibly hostile rhythm when a wave of brutal magical assassinations sweeps across the city's ruling houses, threatening to bring Kieran's entire defensive grid crashing down. The tactical parameters explode as the force proximity reality of their training turns Kieran's private compound into a volatile psychological pressure cooker. Alexis is entirely out of her element, navigating a wealthy, cutthroat supernatural society while trying to keep her chaotic, ghostly companions under wrap. Yet, her sharp wit, razor-sharp mouth, and refusal to submit to Kieran's overwhelming alpha dominance instantly begin to breach his clinical defense mechanisms. Kieran turns into a fiercely realistic, entirely pragmatic protector, deploying his immense ocean magic, elite combat training, and deep political leverage to shield Alexis from the parallel rival mages who want her dead. What follows is an exceptional, high-stakes war of logistical perspective and raw supernatural survival. The tracking clock takes a lethal turn when the hidden data streams behind the city's magical murders connect directly to a dark conspiracy threatening Alexis's wards. To survive the overarching trap and outmaneuver the ancient forces closing in on their perimeter, our grumpy demigod and his fierce necromancer must unleash their combined powers in a breathtaking display of synchronized warfare. It is an urban fantasy romance, paranormal suspense, magic underworld noir, grumpy sunshine enemies to lovers masterpiece that treats magical combat logistics and raw emotional intensity with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp calculation-heavy intensity. We are talking about that high-frequency, you are under my protection energy, where a sudden crackle of lightning in a clear sky, a whispered command from a ghost hiding in the shadows, or a heavy, possessive hand resting on a waist at high society vampire gala carries massive structural weight. Breene writes with an exceptionally fresh, vivid, and beautifully blunt voice, perfectly capturing the salty, electric scent of an ocean storm, the eerie chill of a graveyard excavation, and the distinct, subtle scent of ozone, leather, and pure, unadulterated passion. What truly elevates this milestone installment into elite territory is the author's unmatched ability to write realistic emotional healing alongside breathless romance. Alexis isn't a fragile asset waiting to be rescued. Her immense psychological grit, fierce maternal devotion to her wards, and raw survival instincts match the complexity of the demigod world she is fighting step for step, making her race for dominance feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping. The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense magical standoffs and breathtaking tactical defensive sequences before ratcheting up to an absolute heart-melting climax that delivers a massive shift to the city's balance of power. Sin and Magic is the definitive pro-level upgrade your paranormal romance and urban fantasy library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unput-upable. It proves that when the world is ruled by gods, the most revolutionary play you can make is to ally with the man who can command the storm.
So secure your personal reading sanctuary, review your magical defensive perimeters, open your Kindle, and prepare to unleash the magic.